Countless Republicans have been convicted of sex crimes against children over the past 2 decades. Prosecution of child sex traffickers plummeted under Trump. Here's a list of some of them. Republican anti-abortion activist Howard Scott Heldreth is a convicted child rapist in Florida. Republican County Commissioner David Swartz pleaded guilty to molesting 2 girls under the age of 11 and was sentenced to 8 years in prison. Republican Judge Mark Pazuanich pleaded no contest to fondling a 10-year-old girl and was sentenced to 10 years probation. Republican anti-abortion activist Nicholas Morenzi pleaded guilty to possessing child pornography on his computer and offering a bounty to anybody who murders an abortion doctor. Republican legislator Edison Misla Algarondo was sentenced to 10 years in prison for raping his daughter between the ages of 9 and 17. Republican Mayor Philip Giordano is serving a 37-year sentence in federal prison for sexually abusing 8 and 10-year-old girls. Republican campaign consultant Tom Shortridge was sentenced to 3 years probation for taking nude photographs of a 15-year-old girl. Republican racist pedophile and United States Senator Strom Thurmond had sex with a 15-year-old black girl which produced a child. Republican pastor Mike Pence, whom George W. Bush commended during the 2004 presidential campaign, surrendered to police after admitting to a sexual affair with a female juvenile. Republican legislator Peter Dibble pleaded no contest to having an inappropriate relationship with a 13-year-old girl. Republican Congressman Donald Buzz Lukens was found guilty of having sex with a female minor and sentenced to 1 month in jail. Republican fundraiser Richard A. Delgadio was found guilty of child porn charges and paying to teenage girls to pose for sexual photos. Republican activist Mark A. Grethen convicted on 6 counts of sex crimes involving children. Republican activist Randall David Uncanny pleaded guilty to attempted sexual assault on a child. Republican Congressman Dan Crane had sex with a female minor working as a congressional page. Republican activist and Christian Coalition leader Beverly Russell admitted to an incestuous relationship with his stepdaughter. Republican Congressman and anti-gay activist Robert Bauman * was charged with having sex with a 16-year-old boy he picked up at a gay bar. Republican Committee Chairman Jeffrey Patty was arrested for distributing a video clip of a 5-year-old girl being raped. Republican activist Mahdi Glickman K., a Republican Mahdi, was taken into custody by Florida police on 4 counts of unlawful sexual activity with an underage girl and 1 count of delivering the drug LSD. Republican legislative aide Howard L. Brooks was charged with molesting a 12-year-old boy and possession of child pornography. Republican Senate candidate John Hathaway was accused of having sex with his 12-year-old babysitter and withdrew his candidacy after the allegations were reported in the media. Republican preacher Stephen White, who demanded a return to traditional values, was sentenced to jail after offering $20 to a 14-year-old boy for permission to perform oral sex on him. Republican talk show host John Matthews pleaded guilty to exposing his genitals to an 11-year-old girl. Republican anti-gay activist Earl Butch Kimmerling was sentenced to 40 years in prison for molesting an 8-year-old girl after he attempted to stop a gay couple from adopting her. Republican Party leader Paul Ingram pleaded guilty to 6 counts of raping his daughters and served 14 years in federal prison. Republican Election Board official Kevin Cohn was sentenced to 2 years probation for soliciting sex over the internet from a 14-year-old girl. Republican politician Andrew Burr was charged with 2 counts of first-degree sodomy with a 13-year-old boy. Republican politician Keith Westmoreland was arrested on 7 felony counts of lewd and lascivious exhibition to girls under the age of 16, exposing himself to children. Republican anti-abortion activist John Allen Burt was charged with sexual misconduct involving a 15-year-old girl. Republican County Councilman Keola Childs * pleaded guilty to molesting a male child. Republican activist John Butler was charged with criminal sexual assault on a teenage girl. Republican candidate Richard Gardner admitted to molesting his 2 daughters. Republican councilman and former Marine Jack W. Gardner was convicted of molesting a 13-year-old girl. Republican County Commissioner Merrill Robert Barter * pleaded guilty to unlawful sexual contact and assault on a teenage boy. Republican City Councilman Fred C. Smeltzer Jr. pleaded no contest to raping a 15-year-old girl and served 6 months in prison. Republican activist Parker J. Bina pleaded guilty to possession of child pornography on his home computer and was sentenced to 30 months in federal prison and fined $18,000. Republican Parole Board officer and former Colorado State Representative Larry Jack Schwartz was fired after child pornography was found in his possession. Republican strategist and Citadel Military College graduate Robin Vanderwall was convicted in Virginia on 5 counts of soliciting sex from boys and girls over the internet. Republican City Councilman Mark Harris, who is described as a good military man and churchgoer, was convicted of repeatedly having sex with an 11-year-old girl and sentenced to 12 years in prison. Republican businessman John Grunseth withdrew his candidacy for Minnesota governor after allegations surfaced that he went swimming in the nude with 4 underage girls, including his daughter. Republican director of the Young Republican Federation Nicholas Elizondo molested his 6-year-old daughter and was sentenced to 6 years in prison. Republican benefactor of conservative Christian groups, Richard A. Dason Sr., was charged with rape for allegedly paying a 15-year-old girl for sex. Dason, 62, who is married with grown children and several grandchildren, has allegedly told police that over the past decade he paid more than $1 million to have sex with a large number of young. Republican State Senator Ralph Shorty from Oklahoma admitted to being involved in sodomy with a 17-year-old male prostitute and transporting child pornography. Republican Speaker of the House Dennis Hastert in jail for the payments he made to cover up raping his wrestlers when he was a high school coach. Republican judge and campaign official for President Donald Trump, Tim Nolan, indicted for human trafficking and forcing a minor 9 to engage in sexual activity and giving alcohol to minors results from the court pending.